Resident Evil 9 is 2 games mashed together, but is that a good thing? Is that the best thing? Resident Evil. When did they stop saying the name of the game? I love that shit. Announce yourself to me, peasant. Something you might not know about me, I love horror games. In many ways, I think games are the ideal platform for horror. If you're watching a scary movie, you could just close your eyes and wait for it to be over. Reading a scary book, you can just skim over the bad parts. In a game though, let's put it this way. If you're in a dark hallway, the story does not progress until you move down that hallway. It's a level of engagement and interaction with fear that I don't think exists in any other medium. You literally cannot experience the rest of the story until you face your fear. So I've been anticipating Resident Evil 9 ever since it was announced. I'm a big fan of RE4, the original and the remake. Really enjoyed parts of 7 and had my fun with 8, despite it being strange. Collect my child's body parts? Pour that shit on there. Yep, alright. Gonna pop that right back on, and we're good. Gotta hand it to him. I love that the sleeve reattaches too. Perfect. In preparation for 9, I thought it'd be fun to go back and play every Resident Evil mainline title, so that's what I did. I just went back and played all the games I hadn't played before. I played 1 through 9, the remakes of 1 through 3, the 4 remake, 5 and 6, and then I had already played 7 and 8. Which is perfect, because if there was a game to do that for, this was 1000% the one. Requiem is in many ways a love letter to the franchise thus far. It's a combination of the best aspects of the modern era of Resident Evil gameplay-wise, while harkening back to the OG era in many ways story-wise. If there was any required reading for this one before hopping in, I would definitely at minimum check out the RE2 make, RE4 make, and Resident Evil 7. Not that the game can't be enjoyed without that context, but it definitely helps. You don't want to be stuck scratching your head when the game frames up a big reveal in the story, the camera pushes in, the music swells, Leon's like, "It's been a long time." And you're there like, "Let's get him, Leon." Who is that guy? Requiem is fully 2 games bolted together. It's essentially a combination of the RE4 remake and RE7 and 8, which at first definitely raised some flags for me. When I heard it was going to be both third and first person, I was skeptical to say the least. I felt like it was a compromise, that they were just trying to keep all sides of the fans happy rather than committing to one vision. But now, having played the game, God, I was so wrong. Put a wig on it and call it Hannah Montana, because it's the best of both worlds. It's very cool to be able to switch your POV on a whim, and the controls work for both seamlessly in a way I was really surprised by. So sure, it's 2 games very roughly sewn together, but they're 2 games I happen to really like, so let's get into it. First of all, the story. Our story begins following a new character, Grace Ashcroft, a timid employee of the FBI who gets roped into a conspiracy regarding the assassination of her mother, who was a journalist uncovering some dirty secrets she should not have found. Through this, Grace is plunged into a twisted adventure, fighting, hiding, and running her way through various locations as she uncovers the mystery behind what really happened to her mother. Also, over here, Agent Leon Kennedy, infected with a mysterious virus, finds himself in the mix of all this, and the 2 collaborate to take down this super mega evil secret conspiracy that may or may not be connected to zombies, eyeball monsters, giant spiders, and big fleshy murder creatures, as is tradition. So I wouldn't say story is ever Resident Evil's strong suit. While you gotta respect their commitment to continuity, keeping up the same storyline from all the way back to the original game, the plot has inevitably spiderwebbed into a wild, crazy, convoluted assortment of clones, TCNG viruses, matrix powers, evil pharma companies, and secret government conspiracies. It is definitively a Resident Evil experience. Its horror moments are tense, its action moments are bombastic, and none of it is even a little bit subtle. Like, I really dug the atmosphere and gameplay of Resident Evil 7 and 8, but the story was nonsense. Ethan Winters needed to be put down like the bland, flavorless dog he was. And I gotta say, following Grace, I really like Grace. She's an actual character, not a blank slate for you to project your bullshit onto, or a Gears of War meat fridge, one-woman army Shimbo Hulk like most of these Resident Evil characters. That said, I don't know how the fuck she got her job considering how nervous she is. As far as plot goes, this game is no standout compared to the rest of the Resident Evil stories. It is full-on schlock writing from scene 1. Now, Grace, I know this is where your mother was murdered, but I need you to investigate this spooky hotel for me. You're the only small, frail, timid woman for the job. Please make sure to go alone. All right, see ya! There are lots of small attention to detail moments all throughout the game, but particularly with Grace. Her performance makes her instantly likable, where it would have been so easy for her personality to be grating and annoying. Small details like her hands shaking when you aim, the way she delivers her lines when crazy shit happens to her. Her delivery is really funny. Her response to when you first fire Requiem, the overpowered hand cannon that Leon gives her, is really just human. She shoots it once and she looks at her hands and she's like, oh my god.
Jesus.
There's another performance that I don't want to go ignored, and that's, I think, the strongest villain that this series has given in a while in Victor Gideon. Now, on paper, he is just kind of another evil conspiracy cookie-cutter villain, but he is endlessly enhanced by the performance given here. Little specificities, hand gestures, just the way he delivers his words and the cadence of his voice, it's really engaging to listen to him talk.
You're not like other people, you know. You're quite unique.
He delivers his lines in a unique and unexpected way that make him so engrossing to watch. It's a trend set by RE7 and 8, I think, letting these wacky and weird performers do their thing with these characters. I think it really helps to make them super memorable and more iconic. Who could forget the wacky entourage of villains from 8? Of course, comprised of Fishman, Vampire Mommy, Puppet Thing, and Nick Cage Magneto guy. I miss that guy, the moronic freak. Resident Evil has been on a tear lately when dreaming up fun new characters, and I don't think this is an exception. Though I do think the other villain introduced raises some big unanswered questions and goes heavily underutilized. The Grace sections were all really strong though. I definitely do think that they peak early when you're released on this large open section, very reminiscent of the layout and gameplay of RE2. It's that iconic Resident Evil looping level design, having you collect items to unlock more and more of the area, gathering items and slotting gems into the weirdest looking doors you've ever seen. I loved being let loose on this facility, and there's a great sense of exploration and discovery just like in RE1 and 2. Another element to Grace's gameplay is collecting blood, which allows you to craft all sorts of things. And this shit is everywhere. I don't really know how sucking up infected blood and mashing it together with gunpowder gives you ammo, but hey, who am I to question shit? The zombies in this game all feel so unique and interesting. It's been said before, but they do a great job of making them all feel like they had their own distinct lives and personalities. It's not just mini-bosses like this big chef enemy, but common enemies. There's a zombie staring at herself in the mirror in the bathroom. There's one fiddling with the light switches. There's a surgeon zombie and an attending zombie there to help him out. You think they were banging? I bet they were banging. It's not just aesthetics, it's their behavior that really sells it. There's one guy walking around with an IV stand that wants you to quiet down. It makes you imagine what these people must have been like in life. Like, that guy must have been a prick. It's such an improvement for the series compared to the rot monsters and literal werewolves. But there is a whole other half to this game, and all I can say about that is we're so back. Everything about Leon's gameplay is so satisfying. It feels like a real direct sequel to Resident Evil 4 that I've been looking for a while. You know, besides that one.
Mr. President! I just shot the president.
And Leon in this game, look, they know exactly what they're doing. They just treat him like the badass, ridiculous character that he is, and he is so funny.
Hello, gorgeous.
After a few hours of skulking in the shadows and cautiously sneaking around enemies as Grace, absolutely blitzing through the same area as Leon is such a satisfying feeling. In a game filled with fan service moments story-wise, nothing will top just playing as Leon again, kneecapping motherfuckers into a roundhouse kick. Like, that's the most fan service I could have asked for.
Or we can begin your treatment.
A silent treatment, I hope.
Hey Leon, remember when you shot the president?
Mr. President!
And yeah, there is a lot of fan service here, but it all makes sense contextually. I argue it doesn't take away from the experience too much if you don't get the references, but if you do, there are some really cool fights late game that reward long-term fans of the franchise. Like I said, the plot won't do anything to blow you away. You know what you're getting into if you've played a Resident Evil game before. Hint, it rhymes with secret underground schmab. And yeah, you know you're gonna end up fighting against a giant tentacle flesh monster at the end, as is tradition. As far as gunplay goes, I don't have much to say here other than it's really fun. The Requiem is so fun to use, and I typically go for shotguns, but late game I was ripping with the scopeless Marksman 1A. 1A! I'll avoid direct spoilers here, but the game unexpectedly offers you a binary choice at the very end, and if you're wondering, yes, of course I got the bad ending, at least at first. I thought the game and I were on the same page, but turns out even the context and experience of 8 previous games in the series couldn't protect me from my own bad decisions. I thought I knew what was happening, but it's very possible I had no idea what was going on.
Liar.
As far as replayability goes, I will say once you beat the game, I don't think its incentives to play it again are as strong as RE4 makes. As a now franchise veteran, I was really missing a difficulty in between Classic and Insanity. I never ran into an issue when it came to crafting ink ribbons as Grace, and it would have been nice to feel a little bit more tension there. They also don't give you a score like normal, which maybe I guess they haven't done in 7 and 8 either. And I guess that's nice at first. I mean, there's no feeling like beating the main campaign. A swell of confidence and achievement washes over you, only to be doused by getting a B right at the end. B? Fucking hell.
I thought I was doing a pretty good job.
But overall, I am very happy with Resident Evil 9. It feels like a return to form for the franchise without feeling like a retread or backtracking. I can see how some might see the switches between Grace and Leon to be too jarring or tonally weird, but I loved it. I actually think one of the game's strongest aspects is its pacing. It hardly ever drags and the story flew by for me. There was never a moment where I was playing as Grace missing Leon or playing as Leon missing Grace. I do think that overall the game peaks a little early with some of its less interesting areas and enemies at the very end, but it doesn't dip too much to be a detriment. It promised to be the best of both new and old Resident Evil eras, and for my money, that's exactly what I got. So I'm happy. I'm hoping that Capcom gives this game a little bit more support than they have in the past. You know, I'd love to see another story DLC, maybe some other game modes in this one. Like, give us a Mercenaries mode. We got Leon, for fuck's sake. Maybe adding in a more traditional New Game Plus would be nice. But anyway, what other games would you recommend I play? Should I go back and play Zero and Code Veronica? I mean, I've heard some things. Do you have a favorite Resident Evil game? Do you recommend any horror action games that I should play? Let me know, and let me know if you'd be interested in seeing me cover more games. Thanks, check out my other stuff, and I'll see you next time.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?